I wrote the script, and I'm very passionate about the script, obviously. I had a couple of scenes in my head for a pretty long time, and I don't want to say I love the idea of suicide, but I like the idea of talking about depression and suicide and all the forms that it can take.
What made me come onto this project was the idea and the story behind it was so rich in its imagery that when I was pitched the story, I saw the movie in my head. I saw the locations and the characters and the interactions, and it was very clear to me that this needed to be captured in a way that was in my head. And I was like, man, I think I can do this film justice. I think I can help out on this project.
I feel like everybody knows somebody who's either attempted or has committed suicide, and I think it's important to show the little bits and pieces of life that can lead to a positive or negative impact, and I think this project does it very well.
So what made me come on board to this project was not just, of course, because of the short story that Andrew wrote, but also because of the dialogue that Lauren Lugo wrote for the screenplay. And it's the kind of dialogue that seems simple on the surface, but as you begin to dig deeper and deeper into what she's writing, there is so much more truth behind what she's writing than meets the eye. And it's that kind of writing that hopefully will draw an audience in to come and see this film. That's one of the many reasons why I'm really excited to be a part of this project. And I have a very different answer to this question than other people, because I wrote the story for this, the initial story from which the film grew and grew. And something that I've realized over the past few years, that there really isn't as many films out there that talk about suicide and depression in its raw form. I feel that there aren't enough films that are doing that. And so with this film, what really drove me to want to tell this story and to want to make this film a reality is that we have a protagonist who's truly lost. They don't know what they're going to do with their lives. They feel they have no sense of purpose. And so it's really interesting to have been working on the story so far and seeing how this person just comes across random strangers and learns the meaning of life through these small encounters here and there.
I am playing the role of Teddy, and Teddy is our lead, I guess. She is sarcastic, I would say, is probably what my number one description of her. And she's sad. And I really like the role of Teddy because it is both of those things hand in hand. And I think people might think that she uses that sarcasm and that humor as a defense mechanism, but I really think that it's something her humor is something that is keeping her grounded, which I really relate to and like about Teddy a lot.
I think this project shows the impact that people can have no matter how big or small the interaction is.
Suicide is a very delicate topic to cover in film, in poetry, and in art in general. And it, when taken lightly when it's covered correctly and sensitively, it can shine light in areas for people who have no personal experience with it.
I feel this is an important topic to portray because suicide and depression is something that touches pretty much every single human life out there. I don't know anyone who doesn't know someone who has dealt with suicide or depression in some way, shape, or form. So it's something that's universal. I feel that as our society becomes more fast-paced and demanding, we tend to not really treasure the little things as much as we should. And so my hope is that when people come to see this film, they leave watching the film with a different perspective on life that maybe they wouldn't have before, and that perhaps they will take note of the small things that many of us often take for granted.
They should consider donating to this project because it shows how the little interactions each day can build somebody up or tear them down, and it shows it in a fun way that is not as common, that I have not seen lately in film.
I feel that people should consider giving to this project because you're not only helping ensure that this project reaches its full potential, you're also giving way to the next generation of filmmakers, people who have a desire and a passion to tell a story that will hopefully make an impact.
We're not doing this on the toes of school or a production company or anything. We're doing this completely independently, bringing the people together, this young, passionate, diverse crew and cast together to make this project happen. And I just can't wait to see what we can do with it.
These are people that aren't just making films for the heck of it. They actually have accolades to speak for themselves. These are people who are passionate to the point that they've been recognized for their efforts in the past. And even some of the younger people on our crew, they do have the accolades to back up their passion for doing whatever it is that they do within the filmmaking world.
It's going to speak to so many different people on so many different levels. And that was part of the reason that I personally wanted to write this film with a diverse cast and have a diverse crew as much as possible, because I do think that it should speak to everybody on a bunch of different levels. And I think that if the project speaks to whoever's listening to this right now, that they should donate, because it's going to be a way to get your voice out there, essentially, at least a little bit.